Yeah, so here's the 2023 450ss. Been getting a lot of questions about mileage and how long I've had the bike and is it stock and blah blah blah. So we're gonna do something. We're gonna go through a little walkthrough. So I'm at 11,253 miles. Bike's been awesome the whole time. Break-in was annoying. Stock, the bike kind of sucks. It's a really good beginner bike, but if you decide you want to push it, you're going to need to tune it. The throttle is god-awful stock, super jerky, tons of engine braking, really I don't know, it's not smooth at all. It feels cheap. Really, that's my only complaint, aside from like parts availability and shit, and it being Chinese. If it wasn't Chinese, I think I'd be even happier, but it is what it is. So yeah, I do oil changes every 600 miles, something crazy. I'm a little bit anal about it because it is a questionable, in my mind, it is a questionable motor. First gen for the motor, always kind of hit or miss. So I keep up with the oil changes. I use K&N, the KN303 filters, and I have since I bought the bike. Yeah. So is it stock? No. If you notice, I high-sided it. It has been down. This whole side was fucked up. I rebuilt it. Everything came from AliExpress, direct from China, because it was the only way to get OEM Cfmoto parts at any kind of decent price point in like time frame. So yeah, everything came from AliExpress, all OEM branded, which it's Chinese, so like who knows, it's knockoffs of their own knockoffs probably, but it all worked, all fit up just fine. So as far as like what have I done to the bike, I have done a Team MSC ECU tune. Huge fucking deal. The biggest and, in my opinion, best investment you can make on this bike. I think when I did the tune, it was like $400 and totally worth it. I mean, the bike is completely different after the tune. Number one, the throttle is substantially smoother. Number two, the rev limiter. So if you have this bike stock, it only revs out to 12,000. It won't rev past that. So once you do the tune, they unlock that, and also they play with the power curves and shit. Yeah, it's crazy, the difference in the bike. I don't ride this bike for top speed. Obviously, it's a 450. You're not going to go very fast. If you're trying to compare it to thousands that do 180, it's not happening. I think on the Speedo, after the tune, with all the shit I've done to this bike at Podium Club in Arizona, on the front straight, I've done 140, which is pretty stout for a 400, but that's not what the bike's for. So if you're buying this bike to go super duper fast on the highway, fucking think again, because yeah, it's not what it's for. But so the tune, huge deal. Exhaust. So when I wrecked this bike, I had just a slip on with the stock exhaust on it. So it was the stock catback with just a slip on. And when I sent the tune in, they tuned it to that slip on, which was cool. But when I wrecked, obviously the slip on got all screwed up. So I found this super rad dual underseat exhaust on eBay, believe it or not. Huge, giant pain in the wiener to install, but it is catless, pretty much straight pipe, dude. It's loud, super duper loud. It spits fire and shit now. But it sounds awesome. And I'll start it up here shortly. So exhaust, tune, I have the DNA air filter and like housing topper. There's a couple videos on YouTube from Team MSC, and they actually explain in super depth the difference that you get from having the stock airbox versus having that DNA filter and housing. It's pretty substantial. And I did notice that the bike breathes better once I did that. So yeah, exhaust, tune, air filter and housing. And then we move on to like all the other shit that I did, kind of like preference stuff. So number one, I did obviously the fender delete thing because that big giant honker is hideous, super hideous. This is a bracket for my selfie stick, which I actually broke another one, so it's not there, but it's through bolted into this piece of plastic. You just pop this seat off and through bolt it. This broke during the wreck and I just never replaced it. But I put aftermarket rear sets on this bike because I was scraping them. I was scraping the stock ones. These are cool. I bought them off of AliExpress as well. They were not cheap. They were like 200 something bucks for both sides. They're really well machined, except, I mean, there's really no except, right? Ideally, I could get these higher, but it is what it is. On the brake side, for anyone who's thinking about doing aftermarket rear sets, on the rear brake side, this master doesn't fit in all the adjustment holes. So it's the brake line, all of this shit isn't gonna line up right unless you loosen everything and finagle it around and make it work. So keep that in mind if you're doing aftermarket rear sets. You may be stuck in a position on these that you might not be super comfortable with right off the bat. So you may be in a situation where you're kind of relearning how to use your rear brake, if that makes sense. On the other side, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Again, right? You're pretty limited on how high up you can go, at least with these. Like with this one in particular, there is no like angle. So it's straight. That makes sense. You can't just tweak it, which is what I really wanted to do to get these higher, but they're higher than stock. I haven't scraped them. Pretty solid, so I'm pretty happy. And then I did do a quick shifter. This is a up and down quick shifter. Works great. A little bit jerky. You kind of have to finagle the timing thing. This one came with a like timing adjustment. So you just turn this little screw and it kills ignition for like a split second and initiates the shift, and it's super duper smooth. I still find myself using the clutch sometimes, especially on downshifts, mostly because I do a lot of canyon shit. And one thing I have noticed with this bike is if you're not aggressive, sometimes you can hit a false neutral when you're pushing it. So yeah, quick shifter, all that good stuff. Then coming up here, tank grips. Believe it or not, these are on Amazon. They're okay. They're better than nothing. If freaking Tech Spec made some, I would love it, because these are okay, dude. They're, again, better than nothing. I did the quick release gas nozzle thing because I was sick of pulling my key out to get gas. That's pretty slick. One thing that happened with this though, that screw is not the stock screw, because the fucking screw fell out and the pin got wedged. So I couldn't get this thing off one time. So I went to get gas. I was almost empty and I couldn't get it fucking open. So I ended up having to come home, take all this apart, and I freaking Loctited a new screw in there so this little pin will always stay where it needs to be. And then another super cool thing, this is backwards, close and open. Fucking China, right? So that was cool. That was a big like quality of life change, I guess you could say. And then another big quality of life thing for me was the aftermarket triple and clip-ons. So really why I did that is because when I high-sided the bike, the stock bar like fucked up and ripped a bolt out of the bottom of the triple, and like it was just not worth putting the stock shit back on. So again, this came off of AliExpress. This kit was not cheap. It was like $300. I'm not sure if it's real Mototron or not. I'm pretty sure it is, which is impressive. It's machined really freaking well. It fit up really freaking well. It looks great. Bars don't move. I'm pretty happy with it. My bar location compared to stock is like, I don't know, 3 inches or something lower than the factory bars, which usually like rise up here. So it's much more aggressive ride. Took a minute to get used to. And then obviously I got a freaking camera mount right there. Domino grips. You gotta have domino grips, dude. If you don't have domino grips, like what are you doing? Aftermarket clutch lever. I don't know why this is on here. I thought I was being cool. It's okay. Factory levers will always be better. If you think that the bike is gonna, you're gonna have a better time because you have smaller hands or something and you get aftermarket levers, you're just gonna you're gonna be upset. It'll take you a minute to realize, but stock levers are just designed better and they just work better, especially on the brake side. On the brake side, dude, you want a longer lever for more leverage on the brake. So like, I don't want to have to freaking pull this thing way far to slow down, right? So you got all this lever. This is on here just because it works. It's got all kinds of adjustments. It is a Cfmoto branded whatever. No idea where it came from. What else? What else did I do? Oh yeah, this is a huge deal. So the factory throttle housing is plastic, and it's a 2-piece that clamps together. And I think they do that so like instead of it being split down the middle like this, it's split horizontally. So you can thread each cable in individually and not pull. I don't know why they do it that way. It's also plastic. It is trash. It is part of the reason why the bike is so jerky and not smooth, and 1,000% the cheapest part of this bike is that goddamn plastic throttle housing. So I bought this billet piece off of Amazon. It was like $20. It's a universal 7/8 throttle housing. You have to do a little bit of mod to this piece if you want to keep it. But it is another one of those things that you have to do, in my opinion. Like if you're used to the stock one, you're just used to garbage. When you do this, you'll be like, holy shit. What have I been doing with this bike? I challenge anybody to go to their 450ss and grab their throttle and do this. Tell me if there's any play, because I bet you have a shitload of play. But this, I went as far as to replace the cables. Okay, these are brand new, factory OEM throttle and return cables because I thought something was wrong with them. It wasn't. It was this. So if you find that your throttle's super sloppy and that you're having trouble in that low RPM range, it's this and or the tune. And for 30 bucks, I would do this first. And then I also did this aftermarket windscreen. I am indifferent about it. This is like the second one that I've had because the first one I wrecked and it broke. It looks okay. It looks better than stock, but like the bike is missing something and I don't know what it is. But I'm pretty certain it's this. Like if this was like somehow less tall, I don't know. But that came off of AliExpress, 150 beans, something like that. You can still use your factory mirrors if you want with this kit. I don't know why you would. I take the mirrors off of pretty much every bike I own because I'm a douche. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the shit I've done. I also did EBC centered front and rear pads. I flush this brake fluid all the time. I have Battle Axe S22s, front and rear. This is the first set I've had since I wrecked the bike. And I haven't really been pushing it, which is why I have this chicken strip, so leave me the fuck alone. What else, man? Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's an excellent bike. I love it. You get a lot of shit for riding a 400 and a Chinese bike at that, but it's light, it's nimble, it's quick. People can talk all the shit they want, but it's a capable bike. So I am going to start it. It's going to be loud as fuck. And then we'll end this video. And if any of you guys have any questions about anything about the bike or anything else, just leave it in a comment, dude. I'll respond. I'll make a video. Whatever. Bye.